Imagine being denied a loan simply because someone doubted your abilities. That's exactly what happened to a determined woman who walked into a bank with big dreams, only to be humiliated by the manager. But in just 5 minutes, she didn't just prove them wrong. She bought the entire bank. What she uncovered along the way will leave you stunned. Before we dive in, let us know in the comments where you're watching from. If you enjoy stories like this, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our channel for more inspiring tales. The morning sun streamed through the glass doors of Highland National Bank, its polished floors gleaming under the light. The hum of activity filled the air as people moved in and out, clutching papers and exchanging polite nods with tellers behind their counters. Amelia Carter stepped into the building, her heels clicking confidently against the marble floor. She carried a thick folder in her hand, the culmination of months of meticulous work. Dressed in a sharp blazer, her determined expression set her apart. She wasn't just another customer. She had a purpose. Amelia's goal was clear: to secure a business loan to take her community-focused startup to the next level. Amelia approached the front desk, where a receptionist greeted her with a professional yet distant smile. "Good morning," Amelia said, her voice steady and polite. "I have an appointment with Mr. Bradshaw." The receptionist nodded, made a quick phone call, and motioned for Amelia to proceed to the manager's office. As she crossed the lobby, Amelia felt a few eyes on her. It wasn't unfamiliar. As one of the few black women navigating the world of finance and entrepreneurship, stares that lingered too long had become a regular occurrence. But Amelia kept her head high. She reminded herself why she was there: to grow her business, prove her critics wrong, and pave the way for others like her. Mr. Victor Bradshaw, the bank manager, sat behind a large mahogany desk. He looked up as Amelia entered, offering a handshake that was more perfunctory than genuine. "Miss Carter, welcome. Please have a seat," he said, gesturing to the chair across from him. His tone was polite, but there was an unmistakable air of dismissal in his demeanor. Amelia introduced herself and began explaining her business. She spoke with passion about her company's mission: creating sustainable, affordable housing for underprivileged communities. Her plans were thorough, supported by data and revenue projections. This wasn't just a dream. It was a viable business with proven results. But as she spoke, Bradshaw leaned back in his chair, his expression indifferent. Midway through her presentation, he raised a hand to stop her. "Miss Carter," he said, his tone condescending, "I'm going to stop you right there. This venture doesn't align with the kinds of investments we support." Amelia paused, taken aback. "I'm not sure I understand," she said, keeping her composure. "The numbers are solid, and my revenue projections show steady growth. I've already secured partnerships with local developers." Bradshaw shook his head, a condescending smile spreading across his face. "It's not about the numbers, Miss Carter. This type of project carries significant risk. We have to be cautious about who we lend to." His words hung in the air, heavy with implications. Amelia's jaw tightened. She'd heard this before, the vague reasoning meant to mask deeper biases. For a moment, she considered challenging him, but she stopped herself. Instead, she straightened her shoulders and said, "Thank you for your time, Mr. Bradshaw." Without another word, she gathered her folder and stood. As she turned to leave, she caught the faint smirk on his face, as though he'd already dismissed her entirely. But what he didn't realize was that Amelia wasn't walking away defeated. She was walking away with a plan, stepping outside into the crisp morning air. Amelia's mind was already racing. Rejection wasn't new to her, but she'd learned to channel it into fuel for her next move. She pulled out her phone and dialed a number. A deep, assured voice answered after the first ring. "Amelia," the voice greeted. "I wasn't expecting your call so soon." "I'm ready," she said firmly. "Bradshaw denied the loan, just as we anticipated. Let's move forward with the acquisition." There was a brief pause, followed by a chuckle. "Understood. I'll make the arrangements. Are you sure you don't want to give him a heads up?" Amelia allowed herself a small smile. "He doesn't deserve one. Let's make it official." Ending the call, she slipped her phone back into her bag and looked up at the grand facade of the bank. This wasn't just about a loan. It wasn't even about her business anymore. It was about standing up to those who underestimated her and proving that she belonged at the table. Amelia turned and walked back into the building, her head held high. This time, the receptionist's expression shifted from indifference to uncertainty. As Amelia strode confidently past the desk without waiting for permission, the receptionist stammered but ultimately said nothing. Inside the bank's regional director's office, Jonathan Parks looked up from his desk as Amelia entered. The middle-aged man's tailored suit and polished demeanor exuded authority. "Miss Carter," he said, rising to his feet, "to what do I owe the pleasure?" Amelia placed her folder on his desk. "I believe you've been briefed about my ongoing negotiations with your parent company," she said, her tone calm but firm. Parks furrowed his brow and opened the folder, scanning its contents. A moment later, realization dawned. "Ah, yes," he said, his tone shifting to one of guarded respect. "The acquisition proposal. I hadn't realized this was your project." "It is," Amelia confirmed. "As of this morning, the final terms have been approved. I am now the majority shareholder of Highland National Bank." Parks blinked, momentarily at a loss for words. "Well," he said, regaining his composure, "congratulations. That's certainly unexpected." "Thank you," Amelia said. "There's one immediate matter I'd like to address. Your branch manager, Victor Bradshaw." Parks' eyes flicked up, a hint of caution in his gaze. "What about him?" Amelia's expression didn't waver. "I just had a meeting with him regarding a loan for my business. He dismissed me outright, not because my proposal lacked merit, but because he decided I wasn't worth his time. That kind of attitude has no place in a bank I now control." Parks' face tightened. "I see," he said carefully. "I'll look into the matter immediately." Amelia tilted her head slightly, her gaze unrelenting. "I expect his resignation on my desk by the end of the day. I trust that won't be a problem." Parks nodded slowly, his respect for her growing with every passing second. "Consider it handled." Satisfied, Amelia extended her hand. "Thank you, Mr. Parks. I look forward to working with you." As Amelia exited the office, the atmosphere in the bank seemed to shift. Conversations quieted as employees sensed something significant was unfolding. Amelia walked through the lobby with an air of authority, her confidence unshakable. She caught sight of Bradshaw in his office, still obliviously flipping through paperwork. Amelia allowed herself a brief, knowing smile. The tables had turned. The power dynamics in Highland National Bank would never be the same. Amelia's journey was far from over. But one thing was clear. She wasn't just proving them wrong. She was changing the game entirely.